Did you know that after 60, one of the deepest fears many women carry into relationships has absolutely nothing to do with health, finances, or even being alone? In fact, it's something far more invisible, and yet it weighs on the heart every single day. Most people don't dare talk about it because it's not as simple as saying, "I'm afraid of being lonely." No, this fear runs much deeper. It's the quiet ache of wondering, do I still matter in love? Do I still count in someone's eyes? And here's the startling truth. Surveys and conversations across senior communities in the United States show that countless women over 60 privately admit this same worry, but very few ever say it out loud. Why? Because admitting it feels almost like confessing a secret weakness in a world that expects women of a certain age to simply move on, stay strong, or focus only on family and health. But let's pause for a moment. Does any of this sound familiar to you? Have you ever caught yourself smiling politely at a family gathering, while inside you wondered whether anyone truly sees the woman you still are? Not just the grandmother, the caregiver, or the wise elder, but the vibrant person who still craves connection and recognition. If this resonates, you're not alone, and your story matters here. So before we dive deeper, share your thoughts below in the comments. Tell us about a time when you felt unseen, or maybe when you surprised yourself by realizing love, desire, and companionship don't disappear with age. You never know. Your experience could be the very thing that gives courage to another woman watching this right now. And if this is already striking a chord, don't just like the video. Tap that new hype button. It's YouTube's way of amplifying senior voices, making sure our conversations rise to the top. You only get 3 hypes per week, and every single one helps bring this message to someone who truly needs to hear it today. Meet Eleanora Grace, 67, a retired librarian living in a quiet Ohio suburb, where the leaves of autumn seem to mirror the gentle wisdom etched into her life. She's the kind of woman everyone notices, not for loudness or showiness, but for the quiet warmth she carries, a subtle presence that draws people in without demanding attention. Over her 40-year career in the library, she wasn't just cataloging books. She was curating stories, helping generations discover voices that could change the way they see the world. Even after retirement, neighbors often stop by just to chat, or to ask for advice, because Eleanora has a way of listening that makes people feel both understood and seen. Yet behind this composed and admired exterior lies a fear that few have ever shared openly. For the past 8 years, ever since her husband passed away, Eleanora has navigated life with courage, independence, and a quiet dignity. But there's a question that tugs at her heart more than anything else. Am I still someone's first choice for love? Am I still desirable, worthy of being truly seen and wanted? It's not a fear of being alone. She's perfectly capable of enjoying her own company, but a fear of invisibility in the realm of romance and companionship. She notices it subtly in the world around her. In the dating apps where profiles of men her age are often flooded with attention while her messages go unanswered, in conversations where friends casually assume women her age are past that stage, and even in her own mirror, where reflection meets hope and doubt in equal measure. Eleanora's friends often see her as fearless and adventurous. They know her for her lively book club debates, her Saturday morning walks in the park, and her willingness to volunteer at local schools teaching children the magic of literature. But they don't see the private moments where she wonders if the chapters of her life might still include romance, laughter, and the thrill of new connection, or if those pages are forever behind her. What makes Eleanora's journey relatable, though, is not just the fear itself, but the way she chooses to confront it. She doesn't allow this insecurity to define her entirely. She still experiments with new hobbies, reconnects with old friends, and occasionally scrolls through local social events and senior meetups with cautious curiosity. She represents the modern senior woman in America, aware of the changes life brings after 60, embracing independence, but quietly yearning for recognition, intimacy, and the kind of partnership that acknowledges her experience, humor, and wisdom. And here's the critical point for viewers. Eleanora's story is not unique in its fear. It's unique in her courage to acknowledge it while still seeking growth and joy. For anyone watching who has ever questioned whether they still matter in love, she is a mirror of your feelings, and a guide toward realizing that visibility, desire, and connection are not privileges reserved for youth. They are rights we carry at every age. So ask yourself as you watch, are you noticing the subtle signals that may be holding you back from being fully seen? Are there spaces in your own life where your presence is celebrated, not overlooked? Because Eleanora's journey is about to show us not just the challenge, but the unexpected ways seniors over 60 can rediscover the joy of being truly noticed, and the thrill of life after loss, doubt, or hesitation. Secret 1. The hidden fear. For many women over 60, there's a fear that quietly lingers beneath the surface, one so subtle that it can feel almost invisible, yet powerful enough to shape the way they interact with the world. It's the fear of invisibility. Not invisibility in a literal sense, but the feeling that society, potential partners, and sometimes even family no longer fully see them as women with desires, passions, and romantic value. This fear doesn't announce itself with grand gestures. Instead, it slips quietly into daily life. A hesitation before joining a senior dating site, a pause before attending a social event, a quick thought that maybe it's too late to try again. It whispers doubt in moments that used to be filled with excitement. Do they see me for who I truly am, or just as someone older, experienced, and past their prime? It's easy to dismiss this fear, but its impact is profound. Many women, like Eleanora, find themselves hesitating to express their true desires, to seek companionship, or even to accept compliments. They downplay their accomplishments, shy away from flirtation, and sometimes retreat into a comforting routine to avoid the vulnerability that comes with being seen and desired. Think about it. How many times have you noticed older women in movies, advertisements, or even online profiles? How often are they portrayed as romantic, adventurous, or sexually confident after 60? Rarely. And that absence seeps into the collective consciousness, reinforcing the idea that visibility, attraction, and desire are privileges of youth. This isn't just unfair, it's inaccurate. Women over 60 are vibrant, curious, and full of life experiences that add depth and richness to relationships. Yet, the fear of being overlooked can make them question whether it's worth trying at all. And this fear doesn't exist in isolation. It shows up in subtle ways within relationships. A woman may hesitate to ask someone out because she worries about rejection, or she may hold back from sharing her true interests for fear of being dismissed. It can make dating feel like walking a tightrope between hope and self-protection. Even in friendships, she might notice being interrupted, talked over, or sidelined. Small moments that accumulate, reinforcing the belief that her presence doesn't fully matter. Here's the truth. This fear is not a reflection of reality. It's a reflection of outdated societal expectations. Women over 60 are not invisible. Their beauty is nuanced, their wisdom is magnetic, and their capacity for love, humor, and connection only grows with time. Recognizing the fear is the first step toward reclaiming visibility. So pause for a moment and ask yourself, have you ever felt like people look past you even when you're right there? Share your experiences in the comments. You may find that your story resonates with others who felt the same way. And together we can start to dismantle the myth that invisibility is inevitable after 60. And here's a gentle, actionable step. Start noticing the moments when you do feel seen. A smile from a stranger, a conversation where your voice carries weight, or a shared laugh with a friend. These are reminders that visibility isn't lost with age. It's simply waiting for the right spaces, the right people, and the right confidence to bring it fully to life. Secret 2. Where this fear comes from. Eleanora Grace often wonders why this fear of invisibility feels so heavy, even though she knows she is vibrant, witty, and full of life. The truth is, the roots of this fear stretch far beyond her personal experience. They are woven into the very culture and society around her. Take the media, for example. Think about television, movies, or online content aimed at romance and relationships. Rarely do you see women over 60 portrayed as romantic leads. They might appear as grandmothers, wise neighbors, or supportive friends, but the spotlight of desire and passion is almost always reserved for younger women. Eleanora remembers watching a popular streaming series where the couple in love were both under 35. She laughed along with the story, but a small pang of doubt crept in. Am I even the kind of woman people imagine falling in love with at this age? Then there's family. unintentionally reinforcing stereotypes. Adult children might joke, "Mom, you're too old for that," when she mentions a casual interest in someone new. Friends may say, "Oh, you don't need to worry about dating anymore." While meant to protect or tease, these comments can subtly communicate that love and desire have expiration dates. Eleanora feels a mix of amusement and sadness in these moments, thinking, why is it so hard for the world to see that we still have hearts that beat for connection, just like anyone else? Online dating presents yet another challenge. Studies and anecdotal experiences reveal that older women often feel overlooked in dating apps and social platforms, where men of similar age may receive significantly more attention. Eleanora signed up for a popular senior dating site last year and remembers scrolling through her matches. She saw many men her age receiving dozens of messages, while her inbox remained quiet. It wasn't a reflection of her worth. It was the design of algorithms and societal biases that prioritize certain appearances or profiles. Yet the emotional impact was undeniable. Am I really invisible to the people I might connect with? She wondered. The combination of these external pressures, the media, family expectations, and online dynamics, creates a quiet echo chamber. It whispers that after 60, women must quietly accept a lower visibility in love, as if their hearts, humor, and beauty have an invisible expiry date. But the reality is far more empowering. These societal signals are not truths. They are obstacles to be understood and navigated. Here's a critical insight. Acknowledging the sources of this fear is the first step in reclaiming agency and confidence. Once you see that the fear isn't born from your personal inadequacy, but from a culture that underestimates women's value after 60, it becomes possible to resist it. Eleanora starts small. She chooses to join activities where women her age are celebrated, not sidelined: book clubs, walking groups, and local workshops. Each event reinforces that visibility is not gone. It just requires the right environment to flourish. She even experiments with online dating again, but with a new mindset. She won't measure herself against algorithms or outdated expectations. She focuses on genuine connections and authentic representation, knowing that the right people will see her as she truly is. And here's a question for you. Where in your own life are subtle signals making you feel less visible? How can you create spaces, online, in your community, or among friends, where your presence is honored, valued, and truly seen? Understanding the origin of the fear gives you the power to challenge it, and take concrete steps toward relationships, friendships, and experiences that celebrate who you are now, not who society thinks you should be. Secret 3. Breaking the silence. For decades, the fear that women over 60 experience, of invisibility, of being undesired, of quietly fading into the background, has been a topic rarely discussed in public. But the tides are changing. More and more women are beginning to speak openly about their experiences, creating a wave of honesty and solidarity that is reshaping how seniors view love, connection, and self-worth. Eleanora Grace had always felt this fear in silence. She would smile politely at friends and family when conversations turned to dating or romance, laughing along with the jokes about how we've aged or how the world has moved on. Yet inside she carried a quiet ache, a longing to be acknowledged as a vibrant, desirable woman, fully capable of experiencing love again. For years, she thought she was alone in this struggle. That is, until she started exploring the online communities and support groups for seniors across the U.S. She discovered Facebook groups dedicated to widows and divorcees, forums on AARP where seniors candidly share dating stories, and podcasts hosted by women over 60 who openly talk about desire, companionship, and the unique challenges of finding love later in life. Suddenly, Eleanora realized she wasn't alone. Women all over the country were voicing the same doubts, the same hesitations, the same unspoken fears that had haunted her for years. What struck her most wasn't just the validation. It was the empowerment. She read posts from women describing their first dates in a decade, or their hesitations about online dating apps, or the little victories of reconnecting with friends and potential partners. These women weren't hiding. They were stepping forward, showing that life after 60 could still be exciting, unpredictable, and deeply fulfilling. For the first time in years, Eleanora felt hope bubble up inside her, a feeling she hadn't allowed herself to experience in nearly a decade. And here's the key lesson for viewers. Speaking openly about fears doesn't make you weak. It makes you visible, and visibility is the first step toward transformation. When seniors share their stories, they create ripples of connection, courage, and inspiration. A single post, comment, or shared experience can encourage another woman or man to take a step they had long avoided. Joining a social group, trying online dating, or even expressing feelings to someone they care about. But the story doesn't stop there. Eleanora soon discovered that beyond the validation and camaraderie, these spaces offered something unexpected: guidance and strategies that truly work for seniors over 60. She learned about local community events specifically designed for widows and divorcees, how to approach online profiles authentically, and ways to reconnect with joy and self-confidence. She realized that fear had dominated her choices not because she was incapable, but because she had not yet had access to the tools, spaces, and voices that made courage contagious. And here's where the suspense comes in. Eleanora tried something she never imagined she would, and what happened next surprised even her. But before we reveal that, pause and reflect. Have you taken a step to break your own silence about love, connection, or visibility in your life? Could sharing your story, whether with a community, a friend, or even in the comments below, be the first spark that changes your own journey? Eleanora's next move would challenge her fears in ways she hadn't anticipated, opening doors she thought were closed forever. And in doing so, she discovered a truth that can transform every senior woman's, and man's, perception of what it means to be truly seen, desired, and valued after 60. Secret 4. The Turning Point. Eleanora Grace had always imagined her golden years as a quiet, predictable chapter, a time to read books, tend to her garden, and enjoy her independence. Yet, after discovering communities of women her age speaking openly about love, desire, and visibility, something stirred within her. A quiet curiosity, a spark of courage she hadn't felt in years. She wanted to test it, to see if life still held moments where she could feel fully present, fully seen, not just tolerated or admired from a distance. One crisp Saturday morning, Eleanora made a decision that would change everything. She signed up for a local senior hiking group. It wasn't a group designed for romance or dating. It was purely about movement, companionship, and exploration. But what she discovered went far beyond physical exercise. The moment she arrived, she was greeted with warm smiles, friendly chatter, and a sense of belonging she hadn't realized she had been missing. For the first time in a long while, she felt recognized not for what she had lost or how she had aged, but for the energy, wisdom, and personality she brought to the group. As the hike began, Eleanora noticed the small but profound ways people valued her presence. Someone asked for her advice on choosing a trail route. Another shared a humorous story and paused, genuinely awaiting her response. Laughter flowed naturally, not forced. Compliments were exchanged not about looks, but about insight, humor, and perspective. Every step on the trail became a reminder that visibility and connection were not tied to youth. They were tied to authenticity and engagement. In that moment, a revelation struck her. It's not about turning back the clock. It's about stepping fully into the moment. The fear that had shadowed her for years, the fear of invisibility, of being overlooked in love or life, began to dissolve. She realized that she had been measuring her value against outdated standards, while the real metric of worth was presence. Showing up, participating, contributing, and embracing her own joy. This breakthrough has a lesson that every senior watching can relate to. Often, transformation comes not from dramatic life changes, but from small, courageous steps into spaces where you feel alive. Eleanora didn't need to change her age, appearance, or past. She simply needed to choose environments and communities that celebrate her as she is now. And as she embraced that reality, she noticed subtle shifts in her confidence and willingness to engage. Not just socially, but emotionally and romantically as well. Eleanora's story also offers a practical tip for viewers. Explore local or online communities that match your interests and values. Look for groups that focus on learning, creativity, adventure, or fitness, rather than solely on age or dating. These spaces provide opportunities to be genuinely seen, to form connections, and to rebuild confidence in ways that are both meaningful and sustainable. And here's a challenge. Ask yourself where you could take one bold step this week. A class, a hike, a social event, or even an online community, where your presence is acknowledged and celebrated. Notice the difference it makes to your self-esteem, your sense of visibility, and your openness to connection. Eleanora's turning point wasn't about regaining lost youth. It was about reclaiming her voice, her presence, and her right to be noticed for all that she brings to the world today. And in doing so, she unlocked a key truth for every senior. Life after 60 is not a time to shrink. It's a time to step into spaces where your full self is not just allowed, but valued. But what Eleanora discovered next, something that changed the way she viewed love and companionship entirely, is even more surprising, and it will reshape how we think about dating after 60. Eleanora Grace's journey didn't just teach her that she could feel seen again. It taught her actionable truths about living fully and fearlessly after 60. For every senior watching, these lessons aren't abstract ideas. They are practical strategies to reclaim confidence, connection, and joy in a world that too often underestimates the value of older women and men. 1. Shift perspective. The fear of invisibility is powerful, but often it comes not from reality, but from outside expectations and outdated societal norms. Eleanora realized that the doubts she carried weren't a reflection of her worth. They were echoes of a culture that rarely celebrates romance, desire, or visibility for those over 60. When she reframed her perspective, seeing herself through the lens of her own experiences, wisdom, and resilience, she discovered that visibility and value were still very much within her reach. For viewers, this is a reminder. Don't let societal assumptions dictate how you view yourself. Instead, focus on what you bring to every interaction, your humor, your intelligence, your warmth. These qualities never fade, and they matter far more than anyone's narrow definition of age-appropriate behavior. Ask yourself daily, am I letting culture dictate my value, or am I defining it for myself? 2. Seek spaces that celebrate you. Eleanora's breakthrough came when she stepped into communities where seniors are genuinely celebrated, not sidelined. Whether it's a hiking group, a creative workshop, a volunteer project, or an online forum for women over 60, the right spaces make all the difference. They validate your presence, invite your voice, and allow your passions to shine. The actionable takeaway: actively seek out or even create environments where your contributions matter. Don't settle for spaces that make you feel invisible or tokenized. The more you immerse yourself in communities that celebrate your age, wisdom, and individuality, the more you'll see doors opening, not just for companionship, but for personal growth and joy. 3. Redefine desire and connection. Finally, Eleanora learned that relationships after 60 aren't about chasing youth or fitting a media-driven ideal. They're about depth, presence, and authentic companionship. Desire transforms as we age. It becomes richer, more nuanced, and more meaningful. The excitement lies not in superficial attraction, but in shared laughter, conversations that stretch long into the evening, mutual support, and the quiet thrill of being understood. For seniors watching, this means letting go of old expectations and embracing new definitions of romance and connection. Prioritize experiences and relationships that make you feel alive, valued, and fully seen. Understand that attraction and desire evolve, but they do not disappear. They simply manifest differently, often more powerfully after 60. Now, here's your engagement moment. Which of these resonates most with you? Shifted perspective. Finding a community that celebrates you. Or redefining desire and connection? Comment below. We read every response, and your story could inspire someone else who needs to hear it today. Eleanora's story proves that these lessons are not theoretical. They're living practices. By applying them, she transformed her fear into empowerment, her hesitation into bold action, and her invisibility into a presence that others not only notice but deeply value. And the best part: these lessons are timeless. They're just as powerful for you today, no matter where you are in your journey after 60. Next, we'll see how all of this culminates in Eleanora's resolution, where the fears, insights, and courageous steps she's taken converge into a life fully lived, deeply connected, and beautifully visible. After months of hesitation, quiet fears, and small steps forward, Eleanora Grace found herself standing on a sun-dappled trail one late spring afternoon, surrounded by laughter, conversation, and the gentle encouragement of her fellow hikers. But this moment was different. Unlike the first few times she had joined the group, she no longer felt tentative or cautious. There was a new confidence in her stride, a recognition that she had something valuable to offer. Wisdom, humor, insight, and most importantly, her authentic self. She realized that the journey wasn't about finding someone to complete her or proving her worth to the world. It was about embracing her presence, her visibility, and her right to be seen by the people who truly mattered. For the first time in years, Eleanora felt the deep satisfaction of companionship without fear, without hiding, and without the weight of societal expectations. She was seen and appreciated, not for youth or appearances, but for the depth of her character, her lived experience, and the kindness she brought into every interaction. This is a pivotal moment for seniors watching. Visibility, desire, and connection are not privileges that expire with age. They are rights, fully available to anyone willing to step forward, embrace their authentic self, and seek environments where their presence is celebrated. Eleanora's journey reminds us that your life after 60 is not a fade into the background. It's a chance to shine in ways that are uniquely yours. And this is where the story becomes personal for you. You are not invisible. You are the story, the wisdom, and the love that someone else is waiting to see. Your experiences, your humor, your curiosity, and your presence matter. And there are people, communities, and moments waiting for you to share them. Now let's take action together. First, don't just scroll past, engage. Before you go, don't just hit that new hype button. It's YouTube's way of letting seniors' voices rise to the top. You can hype 3 videos a week. And every hype helps push this message so more people over 60 discover it. Every single tap amplifies the voices of seniors sharing their journeys, their fears, and their triumphs. Next, make your voice heard in the comments. Share your thoughts. Have you experienced the fear of invisibility? What small steps have helped you feel seen, valued, or noticed again? Your words may give courage to someone who is just starting their own journey, reminding them they are not alone. Finally, share this video and subscribe. If you know someone carrying this fear, send it to them today. Let them know they have a place where their experiences matter and their journey is understood. Our goal is to build a community where seniors are seen, heard, and celebrated, where every story, every laugh, tear, or brave step forward is honored. Eleanora's story doesn't end here. It is a continuous journey of connection, growth, and authentic presence. And yours doesn't have to either. By embracing visibility, courage, and meaningful connection, you can transform fear into empowerment, hesitation into action, and quiet longing into vibrant, shared experiences. Remember, life after 60 is not a time to shrink. It's a time to shine, to connect, and to be fully, unapologetically yourself. And just like Eleanora, your story has the power to inspire, transform, and remind everyone watching that love, desire, and recognition have no expiration date.